I want to chat with those of you that just recently received a rejection from an interview that you thought went incredibly well. A no does not mean that you didn't show up with a ton of value that any company would be lucky to have. I'm a 20+ year recruiter. I've created a side hustle helping people land their next opportunities. A no sometimes simply is the timing. The budget could have changed for the role. They could have had somebody already in mind. I do not want you rewriting your story because you received a no. Don't change the value that you bring to an organization because of that no. Your opportunity is out there. Keep showing up, keep doing the work. Your opportunity is around the corner. So hang in there and good luck.
If you've been burned out or on the edge of it, you probably know the feeling. The exhaustion that doesn't go away even after a weekend off, frustration that you just can't quite name, the sense that something's wrong, but you can't quite explain what. I'm a burnout coach and a sustainable leadership strategist, and I want to clear something up right now. Burnout is a pattern of chronic mismatches between you and your work, and that's backed by the work of researchers who identified 6 core areas where that mismatch tends to happen. Things like control, fairness, values, and workload. I've taken that research and I've combined it with my own lived experience and the patterns that I've seen over and over again in my clients, and I created a tool I call the 5 C's driving burnout. Conditions are how your job is structured. Think roles, resources, and expectations. Culture are the unspoken rules. What gets rewarded, what gets punished. Convictions are the beliefs that you carry about worth, success, and rest. Choices are the decisions that you make and the ones that you feel forced into. And capacity is your mental, emotional, and physical bandwidth. When even just one of these is out of alignment, the system starts to strain. But when multiple are misaligned, the system starts to break, and that's when burnout sets in. This framework doesn't just describe burnout, it helps you diagnose it. Having that level of clarity is where change starts, my friend. A lot of us think burnout recovery is just about rest. Take a vacation, set some boundaries, get more sleep, and when that doesn't work, we assume something must be wrong with us. But burnout isn't just about being tired, and recovery isn't just about taking breaks. We treat burnout like it's a stress problem, but it isn't acute stress. It's chronic, unmanaged stress. It's what happens when the demands placed on you constantly outweigh your resources and that misalignment goes unchecked for too long. If you don't address what's driving the burnout underneath, the culture, the workload, the pressure, the beliefs you've internalized, rest just becomes a temporary reset. You'll feel a little better, but then you'll end up right back in the same cycle because nothing actually changed. You come back from PTO and the workload's doubled. You cancel a few meetings, but you're still doing the job of 5 people. You try to protect your peace, but you're also trying to be dependable, high performing, liked, and never disappointing. Real recovery requires systems level change both internally and externally. It happens when you start making real decisions about what needs to shift within your workload, your values, your role design, your support systems, and the narratives that you've internalized about work, worth, and success. Sometimes it's your job, sometimes it's your manager, and sometimes it's the choices you're making and the stories that you're telling yourself. And if you don't examine that, burnout becomes your baseline. So if you're still not okay after the PTO, the boundaries, and the self-care, that's a sign that you need something deeper than a break. You need a better system.
Don't fail your permit test because of these dumb mistakes. The test is full of small tricks, and most people don't know them, so make sure you know these 3 tips. Number 1, always pick the strictest answer. So if one option sounds like always or never, that one's probably right. A good example of this is if they ask, when can you pass a school bus with flashing red lights? And the answer would be never. 2, don't ignore alcohol or signs. They show up on every test. So they could ask you what a red triangle sign means, and that means to yield. Or they could ask you how much alcohol is legal if you're under 21, and the answer is if it's over 0.01%, it's illegal. Number 3, memorize speed limits and fines because they love to ask like random numbers. So they could ask you what the speed limit in school zones is, and the answer is usually 25 miles. It's 15 miles in some states. Or like, what's the fine for littering? And that's $1,000. Go take a limited practice test on getmypermit.app to study these.
Let's interview prep the question, why should we hire you? I'm going to give you both a great answer and a not so great answer. And honestly, I want you to hear the one that we hear more often than not. Who am I? 20+ year recruiter. I've created a side hustle, helping people get ready for their next opportunities with interview prep, etc. I'd love to work with you. 2X me for speed if you want to get right to the point. This question is traditionally asked right at the very end of an interview. We've gone through everything we want to talk about. We're going to ask you this question, and we're going to give you an opportunity to ask us questions. I am looking, my hiring managers are looking for you to be able to tie your background up with a pretty little bow. Help us confirm that you understand what this role is and that you understand the value that you can bring to us. And that's what you want to leave me with in my mind as we exit this conversation. So the normal answer that we hear to this question is, why should we hire you? Well, I'm a really hard worker. I've got the skills for the role. I think I would be a nice value add for your team. And I'm really interested in working for you as my hiring manager. Pause. That's not great. That is so vague. It is a generic answer. It is something that you could say in every single interview that you go to. And it says to us, do they really want this job? Have they been paying attention to what we've been talking about? And it leaves us not really clear about your candidacy for the job. And that's not what you want, especially not in this job market. So the better way, a way to answer this question would sound like, why should we hire you? Well, Melissa, based on everything we've talked about, it sounds like within your accounting department, you're looking for a leader who can help the team close the books faster and with more efficiency, as well as provide more reporting accuracy. The great thing is this is exactly what I'm doing in my current job. And I know that I can bring those skills and value to your organization, plus others. And I would be incredibly excited to do so and work for you as an individual. That's amazing. You've tied back for me the couple of things that I was really looking for. They were the key skills in this job. And you have said to me, you've got them. And this is the last thing that I'm going to remember about you. So again, you kind of tied it up with the pretty little bow. That's my analogy. Drop into the comments any questions that you have. Good luck.
I just want you to know that there is somebody out there who's going to be obsessed with you. They are going to think that you are the most gorgeous goddess to ever walk the planet. They're going to be turned on just by being in your presence, and you are not going to have to change one single thing about yourself because they're going to be obsessed with you just for being the person that you are.
I met with a leader who works at LinkedIn recently, and I asked how often should people be posting on LinkedIn to be recognized by recruiters, employers, etc. And what she said rewired my brain. She said, I tell people to post as many times as they want people to think of them. If you want people to only think of you once a week, then sure, just interact once a week. You want people to think of you all the time when there's opportunities? Well then.
That time of year again where people are going to be asking you at holiday parties what you do for work, what your job title is, what your future plans are. And it is very important that you remember your worth is not determined by your job title. You don't have to live to work. You can work so that you can live your life. You don't have to like your job. It doesn't have to be a career. It can just be a thing that pays the bills. And if someone is going to judge you for the work that